What I want to get perfectly clear to everybody that's watching this is that no, I know what's reality and fantasy.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Grim. This man is 35 years old, still dresses up as a superhero in his free time and fights imaginary people in his backyard, and definitely thinks that he's going to be the next Eminem. It's pretty crazy to see how unhinged he is from reality, so let's see if Dr. Phil can get him any help today. Make sure you keep watching until the end because he is full of surprises. Without further ado, let's just get into it, shall we?
So you actually had a record deal?
Yes, I did.
And that didn't last long.
Yeah.
So already this dude's up with his parents, who he lives with still at the age of 35, which is a big red flag for anyone who might see this guy as a potential partner. But beyond that, he is trying to come up in this rap game and apparently had a record deal, which could easily be disproved probably because we listen to this guy's music, and I mean, just check this out, it's trash. Like, obviously, no one's gonna be signing that dude. There are so many more talented people out there music-wise. I think this guy has a problem with lying, but you will see that further on here in the video as he just cannot fess up to anything that is going on in his life.
3 months, I'm gonna have this whole album done, and you're all gonna see, and Mom, when I get to the Grammys, I'm gonna blast you for all the arguments and all the things you put me through.
And he really wants to carry on this Eminem storyline. That sounds exactly like Eminem right there. He's gonna make it so big in the music industry after this record is finished. I mean, these songs are all just gonna be total bangers, and he's gonna be super rich and famous, and he doesn't need his parents. He's gonna make a diss track on them. The funniest thing is he holds all this resentment to his mom. You'll be seeing clips of him in his backyard, you know, playing around with his toys, and it's pretty clear that he comes from a very well-off family, so I doubt he has much to complain about. They pretty much have provided for him for all 35 years of his life, because he's pretty much been a total loser the entire time.
And the rapper thing, I did support it when he was younger, but now he's 35.
The first issue that you had there was supporting him at all with this rap career, because you should have seen this stupid goatee that he's rocking and the fact that he looks like Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems and been like, maybe this isn't for you, bud. Maybe try out, you know, alternative music or something. This rap game really is not for you.
What I want to get perfectly clear to everybody that's watching this is that no, I know what's reality and fantasy.
And he's already starting things off trying to backpedal like, guys, I know you're seeing this footage of me rapping so terribly and me playing around in my backyard like I'm a 6-year-old, but I know reality from fiction, okay? Which is the biggest lie ever, because he goes into the reason that he plays in his backyard with these toys and dresses up as different characters, and that's because he has this wild imagination where he is a movie director and aspiring actor. He's going to be starring in his own movies. One day he tells his parents, you know, he dropped out of the whole music thing after his label dropped him. I don't even think he had a deal in the first place, but now he's saying he's going to be making these movies, and he's dressing up because he's playing the characters, and he just needs to be rehearsing for the time that he finally gets the funding for these movies. It's a lot to follow, and basically this guy's just insane, and the fact that he had to throw this in the intro makes me believe that he kind of realizes how crazy he is too.
I don't have characters to play the film or the roles that I'm creating in my head, and so virtually these things are happening.
And he has this intro to the audience like, guys, I am not crazy, okay? And then it just cuts to him like, yeah, so I have these movies in my head, and it's just like, and I just gotta get the shots because, like, no one's here to act for me, and I just wanna make these movies, please. Like, man, you're really not helping out your case right now. Maybe slow down, chill out, and stop talking about these imaginary movies in your head.
That's not what's going on here. I'm creating alternate universes or scenarios that's going on for the films that I have in my head and the ideas I have in my head.
And look, I'm not hating on this guy for having an imagination or being childish. Look, I was just looking on eBay the other day at Hot Wheels stuff because I was realizing, you know what, my apartment would be so sick. I could set up some crazy loops and jumps, and then I realized I'd be dropping like $200 on Hot Wheels stuff, so I just shouldn't. So I get the whole childish part of it. Like, it's fun to have an imagination and run wild, I get that. But when you're 35 and jobless, you kind of got to focus on your career and your future because your parents are tired of you mooching at their house all the time, acting like you're just this failed rapper that's one day gonna be a movie director. At least get a part-time job, bro. Come on.
He goes in for just a regular laborer type job, and he wants to be interviewed for management, things that he doesn't have experience or training for.
And even his mom right here is like, I'm trying to get him to get a job, but he's just such a moron and thinks so highly of himself that he's just going to become this amazing director right away that he refuses any low-level job. I mean, imagine him just going to a construction site, something he knows nothing about, and he's like, yeah, you could just hire me on, or I kind of just want your job instead. I think I'm qualified. Like, clearly this guy's living in La La Land, and his parents need to be much more realistic and strict with him about getting his life together, because I'm sure they're tired of this.
The money he gets that he says claims is from jobs is because he'll say, oh, I'm so starving. So his dad will slip him $20.
And yeah, his entire income is just from mommy and daddy's money. It sounds like the mom is a lot more strict about it, but I'm sure she gives in at some time too, because she's obviously not drawn a line in the sand and been like, okay, get a job or you move out. Because if that was the case, then he would be homeless right now. It sounds like this dude has just been fired from jobs left and right and cannot hold anything to save his life.
How did you get fired at orientation? You got fired one time at orientation.
Where was this at?
You tell me.
You tell me.
It was
Okay, one, how does that even happen? You get fired at an orientation. Like, that is such a bad thing that you can say you've done. That means you went through the full hiring process and fooled them, and then they saw you at work and they were like, oh, this guy actually sucks, and just fired him right away. Second, he's like, wait, which one was that? Because he has probably been fired for so many jobs and maybe multiple orientations that he is really not sure which one in specific that Dr. Phil is talking about.
The only place that I really show poise and that I'm not and have super anxiety is on set.
And now he's acting like he needs to be Michael Bay overnight. Like, dude, you have not gone to school, you have not paid your dues and tried to be, you know, like an intern on set or a PA or something. You are just expecting to get this cinematographer or director job right off the bat, and that does not happen, especially in one of the most competitive job markets in the world, the film industry. He just thinks because his family is rich and he's always gotten things by just wanting it and then he gets it, that this will happen the same way, and it doesn't work that way in the real world. After you're outside of the, you know, scope of your parents and what they can do for you, you're basically a loser with no skills, and that's because you have not been devoted to anything in your life up until this point and keep using them as a fallback. I mean, it's so clear, you can see on this guy's beard, he's getting gray hairs and he dyes it so dark. It looks terrible, but man, you are getting old. You got to start thinking about your life. What's going to happen when your parents aren't there to save you every single time that you just get fired, you know, from a random orientation because you ask for the manager's job or something?
Why should they take something where they might be spending $50 million on a movie and let some guy that can't wake up in the morning?
And Dr. Phil is really trying to hammer home just how ridiculous of a request it is that this guy expects to not work until he gets his dream job. It just doesn't work that way. You got to work your way up the ladder. There's so many different prerequisites that you need to have a job like that. And he thinks that just because he loves movies and is passionate about them and buys all this stuff from the costume store and dresses up in his backyard, that instantly means that he should be a director. Look, if that was the case, we would have so many terrible movies, bro. Like, way more than we do now. Side note, has anyone noticed movies have just gotten so much worse? Like, I think it's because we're all stuck at home and Netflix just churns out whatever they want to do, but that's a separate conversation. I've just been very disinterested in film recently, and it used to be a big passion of mine. It makes me sad. All right, back to the video.
Show me something.
How do I get there, Dr.
Well,
Phil?
show me something. Show me something you've accomplished.
How do I get there? I mean,
Dr. Phil's like, dude, if you expect to have this job, show me one thing that qualifies you. And he's like, I don't know. How do I get there, man? You gotta tell me. I don't have the answers. Come on, dude. You're 35. By now, you have learned enough. Even if you're the biggest dummy on earth, you have learned enough to realize what you need to do right now. And that's just put in work, even when it's work you don't want to do. And that's simply something he's not willing to do. And that's why he mooches off his family and will continue to do so for the rest of his time on earth, probably.
I don't know how to control my mind. It's creative. I don't know how to control my sleep patterns. I don't know how to fix a lot of things that I believe are broken inside of me.
So at least right here, he actually is very open and admits that there's some issues in his life that he just has no idea how to start. And I get that, man. Sometimes when it comes to problems in your life, it just feels like you got a package of Legos and you don't have instructions, or you weren't even told what it's supposed to be, but you just have to try to keep working out different combinations of those pieces, and eventually you'll have something. But either way, man, he just needs some motivation, or not even motivation, he needs discipline, because that's what you need when you are just stuck at ground zero. You have nowhere to move but up, but it really does take a little bit of effort in the beginning, and then it gets a lot easier. And I think he doesn't realize that, or when it's not easy immediately, he just gives up, which is a major problem for a lot of people, including me.
He is borderline creative genius. He could win a Grammy. He could win an acting award. But I tell him, you're never going to do it sleeping 20 hours in your room.
And it sounds like his parents have his back, probably to a fault. I mean, not probably, obviously to a fault. We have seen the effects of them just coddling him his whole life. He's a loser with nothing to show for himself. But either way, they understand that there is this bountiful creativity in this guy's mind, which I'm not necessarily disagreeing with. but he just doesn't know what to do with it. And because he's so lazy and has this fallback plan always of his parents, he doesn't have to enact on it. But really, he could be in this field if he just tried. He is still young enough to get into anything he wants, but he's running out of time. Soon he's going to be too old and not have the support of his parents to do much of anything. And it's going to take a lot of work, but I think he can get there one day and he can really start working on his career and himself. They really don't have much as a way of closing this. I was trying to find other clips on YouTube, but it is a bit older, so that could be why. But it sounds like this dude is stuck and is being told what to do, but just doesn't really want to do it. So who knows if he ended up getting better. I really hope he did, but either way, I hope you guys were entertained or at least learned something from this video. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace out.